Welcome. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the podcast, the Zoom cast, I mean. My name is Cathleen Toomey, and I am the Vice President of Marketing for the Riverwoods Group. For those of you who may not be familiar with Zoom, I'm going to just walk you through a few housekeeping steps. One second. Okay, great. Your microphones are all muted, but of course we welcome your questions. Please put your questions on the Q&A section, and I will get to as many as I possibly can at the end of the presentation. As I mentioned earlier, we are recording this Zoom, so we'll be sending it out to all of you. And if you have questions on how we can improve this, because Zoom is new to all of us, please let us know that also in the Q&A. For those of you who don't know who we are the Riverwoods Group, and we are the largest nonprofit family of continuing care retirement communities in northern New England. We have our flagship campuses in Riverwoods, Exeter. We have a campus at Birch Hill in Manchester, New Hampshire. Our newest campus, Riverwoods, Durham, opened in November of last year. And we have the very official SPE, which stands for someplace else. That means it's a very corporate term to say we are always going to be growing as an organization. So that's who we are. And I am Cathleen Toomey. I've been in this industry for 13 years, going on 14. This presentation is adapted from a TEDx talk that I gave, and it really started because of my sense that people are different now. They're different today than they ever have been. You are different. And so your retirement options are going to be different, and your age is going to be different. So for example, what's new? This generation versus your parents' generation, the first thing that's new is you're going to be living longer. So we know if you live to be 65, you can expect to be 84. And if you get to 84, you can expect to live to 92. If you make it to 92, you can tack on another 4 or 5 years. So you're going to live a long time. The second thing that's different is there are more of you. This is the US Census data, and it shows that there are 10,000 people every day in the US turning 75. And that trend happens for the next 18 years. So that means 10,000 people in the US turning 75. That's a lot of retirees, more than this country has ever seen before. And the retirees are more active. For example, no longer are new knees or new hips a barrier. It's really a way to get healthier. So that's changed. Modern medicine has improved things significantly. Sociodemographically, there are those pesky working women, right? You've got dual career couples. You've got moms who are juggling kids and dogs and work. There are your kids got married later, had children later, and are busier than before. And you are different, right? 70 years old is different today than any other generation. So let's take a look at a couple of 70-year-olds. Yep, on those rocking chairs, right? This is a new face of 70. This is a new face of 89. This gentleman is a resident of Riverwoods, Exeter, has won rowing championships, beat everyone his own age in the indoor rowing competition. The thing is that this generation, you want to live life on your own terms, but you are living longer than your parents or your grandparents. So there's not a roadmap for this. You're living longer than any other generation. So how do you want your life to look? We've got new ideas about living. For those of you who may or may not be familiar with Atul Gawande, he is one of my absolute favorite writers, and he wrote a book called Being Mortal. And it talks about what is important and deciding the quality of life by what is important to you, because you have so much more years to live. Now, I'm not being a Pollyanna. I know that aging comes with aches and pains, and I know it's harder to do things than it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago. But what I'm advising you to do is to celebrate your age and not to stick your head in the sand. I know so many people who don't want to think about getting older. They're sticking their heads in the sand and they're saying, that's not going to happen to me. Where you should be realizing the joy of having this happen to you. But life will change. Things are going to be different. So we know some things. We know that 50% of people over 85 live alone. And we know that right now, loneliness, according to the New York Times and Forbes, it's a bigger health risk than smoking or obesity. We have an epidemic right now of loneliness among older adults. Here's a very chilling fact. Adults over age 75 only spend 8% of their time communicating with others. 8%. That dropped 50% compared to age 65. So you think about how little you are communicating as you get older and how important it is to stay connected and be connected to others. So a number of people, we're not the only ones thinking about successful aging. A number of people are thinking about how can you age in a healthy and successful way. One of the most famous studies on that was called the Blue Zones. The author of the Blue Zones looked at 5 different places around the world where there were the largest concentration of what is the oldest old. So where are the longevity hotspots? And what can we learn from those? So the first thing we learned from the hotspots, the longevity hotspots, is that the people who are the oldest of the old engaged in moderate exercise. They know how to shed stress. They connected with families. And importantly, they had something called ikigai, which is roughly translated as a reason to get up in the morning. And ikigai is defined as the integration of what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, or as a retiree, what you can volunteer for, and what the world needs. So this is a really important question. If you delve down, I'm not sure why these slides are moving forward without me, but if you delve down into the idea of ikigai, there's no one answer for each person. Every person has to find their own ikigai. And that is really critical to a successful older life. The reason is because many of us had careers, were moms, were dads. In retirement, we need to find that next purpose. What else can we give back to the world? What else is going to serve as our reason to get up in the morning? This is one of the keys that will lead to a happier and healthier, longer life. But don't take my word for it. Take the word of a little tiny school just to the south of us called Harvard University. They did the world's most comprehensive study. They took a cohort of men from Harvard and they followed them for over 80 years. And They boiled the study, this longest, most comprehensive study, down shockingly to one line. Good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Period. What do they mean by that? Good relationships. They looked at all different factors when they were studying these cohort of men, and they also combined it with a cohort of men from inner city Boston, and they looked at what keeps us happier and healthier. Is it education? Is it marital status? Is it financial success, children, spirituality, exercise? And it came down to good relationships, the connection with other people, not just in marriage, but also friendships and connections around your community. So that is really helpful, and it's a really revelatory piece of information as we think about this next phase of our life. How do we keep those relationships alive in our life? And everyone has a different idea, but that's something important to keep in mind. So what have we learned so far? What is the secret to successful aging? First, don't be an ostrich. Think about the future. Think about the fact that you are going to live for a much longer time. Decide what you want that life to look like. You have it in you to come up with a new vision for your life, a new ikigai. What should that be? Second, defy expectations. Do things for the joy of them. This is a Riverwoods, Exeter resident who jumped out of a plane on her 80th birthday. Find that which brings you joy. Find that which gives you a reason to get up in the morning. If it's jumping out of an airplane, if it's volunteering. The third thing, grow friendships. So one thing that happens as we get older, as we all know, people move from our neighborhood, people move away, our kids move away, some friends pass away. It's really important to find friendship and to continue to exercise that muscle of building friendships and building connections into our lives. Just as it might have been easier when we were parents and we met other parents when our kids were going to school, but even at 60, 70, 80, you can make new friends. People are in the same boat. Intentionally grow those friendships. Also, look forward. Don't spend your life looking backwards and thinking about what you did accomplish and what your life was like. Realize that you have these days ready ahead of you, and there's more to life than what you've already had. One way I think of looking forward is choosing an unexpected path. This is the CCRC, Continuing Care Retirement Community. It provides all three of these new ideas. It provides an opportunity for physical connection, for socialization, to find a new purpose in your life. A continuing care retirement community is a place where you can make the decision when you are independent and able to choose where you want to go. You can choose a nonprofit organization whose mission is people, not profits, known for award-winning nursing care. Mostly you can enjoy life and meet friends, secure that you have a plan in place for the future if needed. It's a smart financial decision, and most residents of a continuing care retirement community agree that it's a gift to your children. Because one thing that we are all concerned about is our future healthcare costs. And if you come into a nonprofit continuing care retirement community, those are taken care of for you. So that's one worry that is not going to interrupt the ikigai, the purpose. So in general, a CCRC means you enter when you're independent and you can live safely on your own. You have to be 62 years or older, and generally they provide 3 levels of care: independent, assisted, and nursing care. Once you live in a CCRC, you can transition between the 3 levels within the same community as your health needs dictate. So that means you can go into assisted living if you need a little help. Say you have pneumonia, you have a tough time, you can go in to assisted living, come back to your independent apartment. You have services and amenities at every level. And typically, there are 2 fees, an entrance fee and a monthly fee, and a portion of each are tax deductible. Most importantly, you have the opportunity to meet new friends, pursue new interests, have an entire new community at your fingertips. Fitness is right down the hall. Healthcare is right down the hall. Meals are available for you. And as in a nonprofit organization, there is always a benevolence opportunity. So if by some, but without fault of your own, if you outlive your assets, you can apply to the community for benevolence, which is really important as we are all living longer. One perfect example of that is Riverwoods, Durham, our newest community that opened in November of 2019. It set all kinds of records. We had a tremendous response from people who are interested in Riverwoods, Durham. And it has an opportunity for you to move in when you're independent and you can enjoy an easier life. You can build new friendships with people who share your interests, live healthier with all of the fitness classes, great meals, and worry less because you have a rock solid plan for future healthcare if you need it. We have a few opportunities left at Riverwoods, Durham in independent living. And right now, we do have some opportunities in Durham for those who may need assisted living care. And at the end, you will find contact information. So I know many people don't automatically think about a CCRC, but I think it is the perfect opportunity for this generation. And here's why. I've thought about you. I think you have 5 options. You can do what I call being an immortal teenager, which is you stay home and you bring in everything. You bring in all your services. Actually, you can stay home, and this is a number of people. Nothing is going to happen to you until one day you wake up dead. So this is the person who says, I am never going to need help. I'm healthy as an ox. Nothing is going to happen to me. That's a tough thing to plan for, let's just say. The second option is a bunker mentality. I'm going to stay home and I'm going to bring in services, which means I'm going to bring in someone to plow, someone to shovel, someone to clean the house, someone to fix the roof, someone to replace the boiler. And if I need care, I'm going to bring in 24/7 care. If that is your goal, I just want to point out one piece of information to you, is that there is an inverted triangle right now in the United States. There are more retirees than there are people in the workforce. So if your plan is to stay home and bring in services, my recommendation would be do your research and find the service that you're interested in and just understand what that cost is going to be, because you're going to need to plan for that. The third option is cohabitation, which is great if it's your first boyfriend or girlfriend. Not so great if you're 80 and you're moving in with your 60-year-old kids. If your plan is to move in with your kids, tell them, have that conversation. Believe me, your kids are thinking about this. So just have the conversation. If you're counting on family care, make sure they know that that is your plan. And then there's the fourth option, which is going directly into assisted living or nursing care when you need it, if the first three don't work out. If you wait, and this is your option, you may make the decision, someone else may be making the decision for you. You are going to go in and pay market rate, and you're going to stay as long as you need to. So this is a challenge if you are making a decision in a crisis. So if you have not made a plan and something happens, someone else may be making your choice for you. The fifth plan, the fifth option, is a continuing care retirement community, which I think is the best option because it provides you independence. You have made all the very important decisions that you have needed to make for your future healthcare. You know you're going to get significant discounts in your healthcare cost, and you're getting a top quality. And you have that socialization. You can find your purpose. So it's a plan for those who are, shall I say, control enthusiasts and like to know where they're going to go if and when they need help. So those are my thoughts on what the secrets are to a successful age and what some of the background is that we've done, some of the research we've done. Now I'd like to hear from you and to see what questions you may have on this whole concept and on the characterization that we've talked about regarding older adults. And I believe that Kaylee is going to be taking some of the Q&As. If you haven't had a chance and you'd like to write down a question, now is the time. Just find the Q&A box on the bottom of your screen. Should be the bottom or the top, one of the two. And we can answer any questions you have. Yes, Kaylee.
I'm going to join Adele back in. She's also able to see the Q&A.
Great, great. Terrific. And I see one question right now, which is, okay, what is the average age of people moving into Durham and into Riverwoods, Durham, and what types of activities do they do? So because Durham is a brand new community, the average age is lower. It's about 74, where other CCRCs are a little older. So about 74, 73. And it would almost be easier to ask what they don't do. So they have all kinds of committees, all kinds of programs. They play cornhole. They've had outdoor concerts. They have a dining committee. They have a resident council. They have lectures. They do poetry readings. There's a number of activities that they do. In Riverwoods Exeter, which is more established, Riverwoods Exeter has been around for 26 years. They have 60 different active committees. They play pickleball. They run and walk on our trails. We have wood shops in all of our communities. And there are active groups, both from a political action and political information to, in Exeter, we have beekeepers, so we keep our own bees, and we have our own goats. So it's a very widespread variety of things to do.
Kathleen, I have a question here. Can you talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected life in the communities? Are your residents isolated, or
Yes.
are they able to go out and about?
Sure. That's a great question. And we have been very, very vigilant within the Riverwoods group about the pandemic. We have been very lucky that we have not had a significant impact. We have been very, very aggressive in terms of our pandemic efforts, and we've had a separate website set up with our CEO who has provided regular updates. The benefit of being in a CCRC during a pandemic is that you have nursing professionals that are on top of this. We are participating in the CDC calls every day, in the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services calls every day. We monitor the types of caseloads and check that. And our residents change what they do and what they can do based on where we are with our current protocols. So right now, we have suspended our congregate dining, and people have dining delivered to them or they pick it up because that is a big potential spreader. So when things start calming down, we'll start bringing the congregate dining back in. Right now also, we encourage people to visit with their family outside, but not to have the family inside. People wear masks inside the community. All visitors are screened before they come in. And we have been extremely diligent, and I know that we've gotten a lot of responses from our residents and their families that they feel much better and much safer having people live here because we are taking such good care of them. We've got a question, are pets allowed? Absolutely, we love pets, and we place no restrictions on size or type of dog. We don't like to break up families, so if you have pets, just come on down. There's a great trail system in all of our communities that accommodates for pets, and we absolutely love them. Another question that I saw up here.
There's one here, Kathleen, about rehab available for residents.
Yep. Within Riverwoods Durham, we have PT, OT, and speech therapy all come in to our health center in Durham. We have availability for that. We have a rehab gym as well as a regular fitness center for our independent residents. So you have everything you need right within the community.
Another one is, you talked about evaluating CCRCs. Are there any resources available for people who are just beginning the process?
Absolutely. What I can do is recommend that you ask us, you send us an email, and we will send you our Insider's Guide, which is a comprehensive workbook that I've put together. Our CEO and myself have lectured all over the country on CCRCs. We've written a guide that you can take to any CCRC, and we will explain the contract types and the questions you should ask. Riverwoods Durham is a type A CCRC. We have a fantastic reputation, and at the end of this presentation, or actually right here, info@riverwoodsdurham.org. If you email us, you can get a copy of the presentation, either downloaded or we can mail it to you. We have another question. Are tours available at this time? Absolutely. We have extensive screening protocol, and we can invite you into the community for a tour. So we are moving people in, we are touring people. We also have Zoom tours and virtual tours of homes that are available. So we're willing to work with you, whatever your preference is in this day and age. Another question is about our entrance fee. So do we have a refundable entrance fee? And the answer is yes. Now, what do I mean by that? So in a CCRC, you pay a one-time entrance fee, and some CCRCs are not refundable, so that entire amount goes to the community. Others, like Riverwoods Durham, is refundable. So you have the ability to have 80% of that returned to you once you leave the community, if you pass away or decide to move, and we resell your unit. So that provides asset reservation for you. This means you can come into our community, enjoy the amenities and the life at Riverwoods Durham, and still have money left over for your children after you pass away. So people very much enjoy that, and that's been very, very popular. I do not see any more questions at this time. So I do want to also remind you that if this was something interesting to you, I would highly recommend that you sign up for our next Zoom workshop, which is with a fabulous guy, John Leland, who has spoken here before. He's a New York Times reporter and author who followed several 85-year-olds who lived in New York, a variety of socioeconomic backgrounds, a variety of personalities, and took a year with each of them to understand how they define happiness. And some people living at a very low level of income, others have had extreme challenges, and he encapsulates their attitude towards life and how they are making the most of their years. So I highly recommend that. It is going to be Wednesday, October 28th. All you need to do is RSVP online, which is available right here. And I hope that you get out and enjoy the rest of this gorgeous day. Thank you so much for coming. And we look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to touring you at Riverwoods Durham soon. Thanks so much.